That's the approach switch isn't working. That is fantastic. Well, then I guess we'll be flying a manual ILS approach, which could get really messy because I haven't done that in a long time. Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to the life of a virtual cargo pilot. And now we're going to be doing something different, something I've been meaning to do for a long time, and that's get on over to Europe. I've been meaning to get over there for a long time, and a lot of you have asked me if I would do some flights over there, and I wanted to start back with this Life of a Virtual Cargo Pilot series, get a new season going on that. And I thought, man, I love flying this Cargolux livery. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And this is the Salty 747 mod. If you're not familiar with that, I'm sure I'll talk about it quite a bit along the way, and we can maybe look at doing a tutorial for it sometime in the not too distant future. But Cargolux is based out of Luxembourg Airport, or ELLX, in Germany, and we're going to fly from there to LFRS, and I don't remember the name of that airport off the top of my head, but it'll come up when we do the flight briefing anyway. It's super early in the morning, and I thought this was a beautiful shot with the moon in the background there, and I thought, what better way could we find to start the next season in the life of a virtual cargo pilot? So that's what we're going to be doing. And we're going to be flying in our Salty 747. So what do you say we climb up into the office here and get this party started? And welcome to the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you're all familiar with the 747 flight deck. The Salty 747 is, in a sense, similar to the fly-by-wire A320 in that they took the default 747 and then improved upon it quite substantially. And like I said, if we want, we can do a tutorial, like a full flight tutorial on this in the future, because it certainly has a lot more available than the default model does. But for now, we're going to dive right in. You can see that I've powered on the aircraft. We're on ground power right now. And just real quick, going over some of the stuff on the overhead here. We're going to keep this pretty short and simple. So we just start by coming down this side. You may have seen, let me hop back down here and show you. You can see that our IRS is in alignment mode right now. We got 4 minutes to go. If I remember correctly, that's something you can change. But again, we'll dig into the options and features of this at another time. So we want to start by turning the battery on, and then of course standby power goes on as well. And then because we've got external power available, we've got both of those on. The generator control switches all need to be in the on position. That's these guys right here. And the bus ties are all in the auto position, so we don't need to worry about those. These pumps, they're all in the auto position. We can't move them anyway. So we'll leave the engine pumps are on the on position, and we'll leave the demand pumps obviously have to stay in the auto position as well. I don't know if you can do the fire test on this. I don't think you can. And it's been so long since I've done it anyway that I'm not sure I remember how, so we'll get back to that eventually. All our start switches are in right now. We can leave all of that alone. We don't have any of the fuel tanks on right now. We don't need them on. We'll turn them on when the time comes. We could turn the window heat on if we want, so we'll flip that on. Anti-ice is all in the auto position, which is where I like it anyway. And then all of these lights are off here. Taxi light, runway turn off lights, landing lights, all of those are off. The beacon, we could turn the lower on because we have power on the aircraft, but it's not letting me. Not sure why. Do I have a switch like mapped to it? I do. That's why I got another switch mapped to it there. So that's fine. That should be both there then, right? Yeah. It's not going to do anything with this switch. I'll have to unmap that at some point. It looks like all of these I've got mapped to something except for the wing lights. Those can stay off. So APU, so we don't actually have it on right now. I'm not sure why that's in the on position. But that's the APU bleed, and obviously without the APU running, we don't need the APU bleed running. And then of course we've got the engine bleeds over here. Isolation switches, all that are good. Packs can all stay in the on position, even though we're not really using them at the moment. We'll leave them as they are. Trim air is good. Upper and lower recircs are good. And I'm just looking at my checklist here real quick. IRS alignment's already been dealt with. Fuel pumps are all off. Fuel crossfeed says on all 4 switches, so that's these 4 right here, and they are in the on position right now. Nacelle anti-ice, wing anti-ice are off. Window heat's on. We just turned that on. Yaw dampers. I haven't done yaw dampers. Man, I haven't flown this plane in a long time. Yaw damper should be up here, right? Oh, it's right in front of my face. That's why. Right there. Yaw damper. Dirt. Okay. You guys know me. I don't like to move on without getting it figured out. So there's the yaw dampers that are supposed to be on. We're not going to start the APU yet, but it tells us to. Flight deck temperature's on. Auto trim air is on. Upper and lower recircs are on. Gasper. I don't think this one has a gasper, does it? No gasper switch on this one. I think that's just for the passenger version of the aircraft. Packs 1 through 3 are all normal. Isolation left and right are open. And the APU bleed we don't need to do anything with right now. And that's going to take us up to setting up the FMC, which we'll do here momentarily. Alrighty, we got our IRS alignment is completed. As you can see, that's easily indicated by these guys right here. You know, something I noticed on this though, you know, I had rolled the switches straight to nav like you can do on the 737. That didn't work. I had to roll them back to align and then back over to nav in order to complete the alignment process. So just something to keep in mind. Let's jump down here to the FMC. Obviously IRS alignment goes by setting the IRS position here. We've done that. Now I'm going to show you something really cool here. You can link this to your sim brief, just like you do your just like you do your Sim Toolkit Pro. And that actually reminds me, rather than doing the FMC, let's take a real quick look at our Sim Toolkit Pro and our flight plan for the day. So here we go, from Luxembourg, ELLX to LFRS, which I still can't remember the name of that. Looks like we're going to be departing on runway 6. We'll pull the ATIS just to be sure. And then our departure today is going to be, let me pull up the flight plan here. Here we go. So looking at our fuel first, and we'll take care of that one. Now somebody put in the comments, I'm sorry I don't remember your name that you use on YouTube there, but somebody had put in the comments about how to set up SimBrief so that your fuel and stuff is more correct. I played with it a little bit, but I didn't do much because I'm a little short on time this evening and I wanted to get to the flight. So but just looking at this, we're looking at a block fuel of 54,381. That should have some extra fuel in it of 2,500 pounds, which really isn't much. Again, I was just kind of messing around with it, so I might put just a little extra in on top of that. But I did mess with that a little bit, and I appreciate that tip that you gave me in the comments there, and I'll definitely play around with it some more so that I can become more familiar with it. Moving on down here to the route itself, we're scheduled for runway 6 and the Rapport 7T departure out to Rapport, and then airway UN 857 out to Gimmer, and then UT 300 out to the PON VOR, and so on and so forth. You guys see all of that right there. So that's the basics of our route there. And again, we've got all the information over here. We can pull weather if we want. Right now we're looking at wind is 350 at 5 knots. So that makes sense for runway 6 because your options are runway 6 or brain doesn't want to function right now. It's been a long day. Runway 6 or runway 24. So in a sense we could almost go with either because the wind is going to be coming from, what did we say it was, 340? Let me pull it back up again. 350. So the wind's coming almost from due north, which is going to be right about here. So 06 is going to be a better option anyway. So there we go. We're going to stick with 06. So again, you can pull weather, you can pull all your frequencies here. We'll pull those up on the charts, and then you've got the basics of the route here, and all that's laid out nicely for us. And so I'm just going to roll right in from this to taking care of the FMC. So let me just put that over here on the other page, or on the other screen, and then we'll go right here into the FMC. So what I really like about this, if you go here to menu, go to Salty, and then go to SimBrief, you got to get this ID. Now feel free to put my ID in here if you want, but every time you try to do a flight on here, you're going to get whatever flight plan I have on SimBrief right now. But you can get your SimBrief ID, put it in here, and then what it'll do is whatever flight plan, just like with, you remember with I think I've shown you in the past with Navigraph charts, when you do new flight, you can do flight from SimBrief, and it'll automatically load whatever the last flight was. Same concept here. Go over to the FMC. We did our position initialization. We could put in reference airport and all that, but we're not going to. We're just going to go to route and then send request. And so it's going to send it, and it's going to load the flight that's in SimBrief right now. So there you go, ELLX to LFRS. So we're going to activate, execute. Now this does do kind of a weird thing. Let me clear that message off there. When I go here to performance initialization, what was our altitude supposed to be? It's not a very long flight. It's only about 400 nautical miles. And our altitude was supposed to be... oh, I can't find it right now. Well, it's about 400 nautical miles. So let's go with... oh, my brain does not want to function, guys. I'm really sorry. Let's just say we're gonna go with 36,000 because we're heading west. Yeah, so that stupid little ditty, west is even, or east is, yeah. Is that right? Yeah, west is even and east is even odder, or something stupid like, I don't know why they didn't do just east is even, but who knows. But anyway, so since we're going west, we'll do a even altitude. So flight level 360. My brain will start to function a little better here pretty soon. Now the cost index, we can send a request. Actually, I forgot about that. So let's request, because I set the cost index to 500. That's one of the things that I changed. It set the altitude to 310. So maybe it's different in the UK. I don't know, or in Europe. This isn't the UK. This is Europe, though. Is it different in Europe? In the United States, when you're going east, you fly at odd altitudes. When you're going west, you fly at even altitudes, if I remember correctly. But apparently, I can't seem to remember. So, oh, it's a good time, right? We'll go with 310. That's fine. I'm not too worried about that. Zero fuel weight, reserves at 18.1. Sure. Let's go to thrust limit. Now, sometimes when I do that performance initialization, it wants me to execute again. I'm not sure why. But we're going to go with a normal takeoff and normal climb, or full climb power, whatever. I don't know why to N1 85% is on here, though. This should be like 100%, right? The runway here is not super long. Let's see if we can put that at 100. No, it's not letting us do that. That's interesting, because I would think that a full thrust would be, like, this would be less, right? Well, it's not changing that at all, is it? Okay, so we'll stick with that. And then you should be able to do flaps 5 or 10, but every time I try to put in flaps 5, it doesn't work. So we're going to go with flaps 10. And we haven't done departure and arrival, or our departure yet, and that's why we don't have any V speeds in here. And I do apologize, I'm being a little slow here. I'll get this rolling, I promise. So our departure, I need to click over here, is, I just read it, but it's rapport 7T, and that's transition at rapport. So let's find that on here. There it is, rapport 7T from runway 6, and then it's not even giving me an option for transition. So, oh, that just went away. There we go. Rapport 7T. There's a little delay on that select there, because I clicked it and it didn't select right away. So that's interesting. But there we go. Select it. Back over here. It's not, shouldn't ask me to confirm anything again. And our block fuel was what again? Our block fuel was 54,381. I didn't change the fuel on this. I don't even know if I can now. I mean, I could use the what do you call it? Crossload. That should just send it over there. I don't know. This one, the default fuel thing, because I don't think there's a fuel option on here. And I do apologize that I'm stumbling around a little bit here. I'll get squared away. I haven't gone through this a whole lot yet, because it took me forever to get this to even work. So, yeah, good times. We've got 95.5 on fuel in there right now. We need 54,381. So there's plenty of fuel in there, that's for sure. So I'm just going to leave it for the moment and figure out how to get that squared away properly in the future. So, but again, here's our route. Everything's in here. You can go to the legs page, make sure there's no disconnects or discontinuities. That's out to rapport. That's what we want. So that's looking good. Not sure if we can change the altitudes in there yet or not. Again, I haven't really messed with this very much. But now if we go to our takeoff page, we should have our V speeds in there, but I'm still not seeing them. Well, I guess you just click and there they are. So V1's 138, V rotate is 153, and V2 is going to be 172. So we're going to leave that page up there. I'll be back in just a second, and we're going to move on with this because it's already taken way too long. Alrighty, let's take care of our taxi and departure briefings here. I'm actually doing this after the fact because I briefed the arrival instead of the departure, so I had to re-record it while we're at cruise altitude here. So yeah, accidents happen. Taxi is going to be pretty straightforward. Let's start out with our ATIS. Here's 134.755 Luxembourg delivery on 121.855 and the tower on 0.105. Now we're down here. I did pull up this chart for you. This just gives you the coordinates for each of these parking spaces. I get the hiccups all of a sudden. We're here in Z04. So basically, just so you know, the this is going to come before we do push and start. The pushback feature is not going to work properly here in a minute. I can tell the future. No, just kidding, because I'm recording it late. But either way, we're just going to swing around right here. We're going to taxi all the way down to hold short of runway 6. Pretty straightforward. Now, as far as our departure is concerned, I did this wrong. I briefed this instead of this. You can overlay, I don't know if you know this, on Navigraph you can overlay this, right? So here's our route over here. If I zoom out, you can see here's our route over here. And so you can overlay the chart. So let me get that out of the way. So when we take off, basically what we're going to do is we're going to climb out this way, and then we're going to circle back. That's the way it's set up, and then we'll go on course from there, starting here at distance 19 from Lux, at or above flight level 060. And on departure, I'm also going to mention that I did not check the transition altitude. So the transition altitude is 4,500 feet, but I'm not going to know that when we take off. And so there you go, a little more foreshadowing. But then it's out to rapport and then on course from there. Alright, so with the taxi and departure brief out of the way, let's press on here. Our altimeter needs to be set. We need to pull the ATIS to do that, though. So if we jump down here, I gotta find which one it is. 6, 7. So you got all these different which columns on here. Okay, so we said the ATIS was 134.755. 134.755. Switch that over and let's listen.
Luxembourg Airport information, Quebec 0200 Zulu. Wind tree 48 at 8. Visibility 6. Sky condition clear. Temperature 1 tree. Dew point 10. Altimeter tree 0.15. ILS runway 06 in use. Landing and departing runway 06. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Quebec.
Alright, so we have Quebec. We're good on that. So we can hop up here and we can set our altimeters to start with, which is 3015. What's with the blinking light? 3015. That's pretty high pressure, actually. There we go, 3015. We're set on the altimeters. Flight directors need to come on at this point. 1, and this one was apparently already on. I don't know why it was on. Let's see, V2. What was our V2 speed? 172. So I like to do V2 plus 10, so 182. If we can get it there. There we go, 182. We can ARM LNAV and VNAV. So this is one of the problems I was running. I couldn't, like, a lot of the functions weren't working. Come to find out, it wasn't even the salty 747 that I kept jumping into. It's a whole long thing. I'll have to explain it to you one of these days. It's just ridiculous. First altitude, we're just going to take it all the way up. So it's flight level 310 for us. That's a little high. There we go, flight level 310. The autopilot is off. Fuel control switches, those are these guys down here. These 4 are all in the cutoff position right now. Trim settings, You can pull up the flight controls on this, but it doesn't tell us what our trim is on here, does it? That would actually be really helpful if it did. See, is it showing takeoff 2 here? It is, isn't it? Look at that. See, this is showing takeoff 2, 20 degrees thrust, takeoff 2. I don't know if that has to do with the... See, you can't put in... So I can't put in the runway wind and all of that stuff, so that doesn't help. Climb 2, I understand. What I don't understand is why it's showing takeoff 2. See, because we're not on takeoff 2. See, that's takeoff 2 is down here. That's not what I want. But it's doing that automatically. I don't know what takeoff B is. So, I don't know, we might be stuck with, oh, this is why, maybe, because of this. Select, what if we put that at 10? Does it let us? No, it doesn't even let us. Okay, so I guess we're stuck with that for now. There's our center of gravity, but it doesn't tell us what our trim is supposed to be. And being the fact that I am no expert in the 747, I don't even know what it's supposed to be. But we're going to put it, if I remember, we were around 9-ish on when we were flying the PMDG 747. That's just a guess, but if it's wrong, I guess we're going to know when we take off, right? So anyway, I apologize that I'm not a little bit more familiar. Like I said, it took me forever to get this thing up and running. We need to go to RTO on that. It took me forever to get things squared away, and I wanted to get this flight done for you guys, and I still do have limited time, and so I need to make sure I get flights done when I have the opportunity. So I hope that y'all bear with me and that nobody's too upset about the whole thing. I gotta figure out what all these are. We need to do our TCAS test, which should just be clicking it. I don't even know if it's doing it. That might not be functioning. Yeah, I don't think that's functioning. So we'll just put our transponder to 2336. Okay, so TCAS can go to TARA. There we go. That's fine. Biasing mode is supposed to be above. Right now, I think it's... Well, I can't change that. So, okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. No smoking and fasten seatbelt signs got to go on. That's up here somewhere, if I can remember where. They're supposed to be like right here, aren't they? No, they're not up here. I'm sorry, guys. They're down here. There we go. Auto. They were like right next to me. Oh no, it goes on. That's fine. I can't change that either. Can't do anything with that. There's lots of things that don't work in this because it is still centered around the default aircraft. So. But they are still doing updates to it and stuff, so that's fantastic. So flight deck door, we can't do anything with that. Traffic button on the IFIS. I'm supposed to press it and check check for potential aircraft. Jump up here. So traffic button's the guy in the center there. There we go, and that should be looking for aircraft now. Fuel pumps can all come on at this point. Jump up top here. So there's no fuel in the center, so just the mains. And I'll show you where I got that from. So it should just be all of those. And then let's go back here and put this on fuel. And then back down here. So you can see there. So none in the center, none in the stab. And it looks like none in the reserves here either, which I think I turned those on, didn't I? I don't know. Are those the reserves? I'm not sure, actually. I don't think so. These should just be mains. Main 1, 2, 3, and 4 is what I'm looking at there, and that's main 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I think we're good on that. Okay, so we'll stick with that. And other than starting the APU, that pretty much gets us ready for push and start. So we'll put the APU on here. We should be able to see that spooling up. Usually it comes up automatically, if I remember correctly, but it doesn't appear to be doing that. So if we go to engines, does it show us on here? It's not showing us on here either. Maybe under electrical? Maybe? Well, it just shows us APU running there. So yeah, I guess we can't pull up electrical anyway. So it'd be cool if... Oh, the checklist works? No. Come on. Seriously? That's pretty awesome, actually. We did. Can you do anything though? That's the question, right? It doesn't let me do anything. Checklist override. It doesn't let me do anything on there. There might be a trick to it. Non-normal, normal. It might just be like a placeholder type of thing, you know what I mean? Either way, okay, we'll put that back on engine. The APU's up and running. Let's jump back up here. I do want to get this going. Let's put the APU bleed on, and we can come on to APU gens and off of external power. And there was no connecting or anything out there, so we should be good to go as far as all of that is concerned. And I think we're just about ready to rock and roll, so I'm just going to check a couple things, make sure we're good to go, and then we're going to actually get going here. Oh, that's a bummer, guys. Now, you can do it manually. We don't really have to be honest with you. We don't really have to here, and so we're not going to, because we can pull forward. We'll go over the grass, but whatever. But I don't want to sit here and mess with it. We got plenty to worry about. So let's just go ahead and let's start taking a look at our push and start checklist. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go from here. We're going to start from here. Oh my! I had turned the parking brake off. Let me just try one more time just to see, because I'd really like to show you guys this. Yeah, it's not going to work. It's obviously a bug. It's done that to me before. So I don't know what to do about it, but let's press on here because we got to get going. So gangway and doors. I don't know my hotkeys for closing doors, but I do believe we've got doors. That's geared. Doors is right there. So are all the doors closed? That should be closed, right? A is armed, right? So that's closed. So if we go to external here, we can see that the doors are closed. Why is that taxi light on? Did I somehow flip on the taxi light? That sucker's bright too, isn't it? Oh my goodness. I did learn some stuff with cameras, so you guys are going to hopefully see some cool stuff here. But let me put this back on the engines page here and hop up top and see why our taxi lights are on. It's got to be a switch on here. Yep, it's a switch on there. Okay, I guess I'll have to remap those later. Okay, moving on. Doors are closed. The engine's starting to push back. We've got our clearance. Beacon light needs to go on. So let's see if I can figure out which one's the beacon light here. That's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's that one. There we go. There's the beacon light. Hydraulic demand pump switches 1 through 3 need to be on auto. That's these guys here. These are the hydraulic demand pump switches. They're all on auto. So there you have it. Packs 2 and 3 need to go off. That's oh, you can't turn the packs off? How are you supposed to start the engines? Oh, this should be interesting. Engine bleed air switches go on. We're gonna see if this works. I hope it does. Otherwise, that's gonna be the end of this video real quick. Parking brake start. Parking brake will stay on, and then we're gonna start the engine. So, auto start needs to be on, which I think it just automatically is auto start on the 800 because this is a checklist from a 400, I believe. Fuel control switches 1 through 4 all to run, and continuous ignition on. So we don't have a continuous ignition either. We just have our start switches. So what it's saying that we need to do is come down here. All 4 of these need to go to the on position like that. Oh, that didn't switch back to the engines page. Let's try it again. There we go, engines page. Jump back up here. And then we are going to start with engines 1 and 4. So click it and click it, and then yep, auto starts kicking right in. Okay, so there we go. The engines are starting up. I am literally going to, well, I was going to say I'm going to just be quiet and like fast forward this. So I might fast forward it, I might not. Okay, definitely decided to fast forward through that, as you've noticed, and we're going to go right into our after start checklist. So first things first, the APU needs to come off. So turn the APU bleed off and turn the APU off. And the start switches should have automatically clicked off. I'm pretty sure they did, but the sound set's a little it's a little quiet. to me on this. I'd like it if the sound set was a little bit louder, but it is what it is. Anyway, packs, we couldn't do anything with those anyway. I was actually really surprised we couldn't do anything with those. Hydraulic demand pump switch 4 goes to auto, which it already is. We can't move that one either. Engine and wing anti-ice, we don't need that right now. Main display, check for warnings. Come up here, there are no warnings on there. We can hit recall. No, we can't. No recall. So that's fine. What else? It just rolls right into our taxi checklist. So taxi lights on. Now we can turn those on if I can figure out which one it is. That's got to go on anyway. Strobe's got to go on. Nav's got to go on. Wing lights and logo lights can go on. There's our taxi lights. I don't know why the runway turnoff lights are mapped with it, but they are. So we've got taxi lights and runway turnoff lights are both on now as well. We've got our taxi clearance as far as we're concerned. Taxiways have been noted. We don't need any ground guidance. The last thing we need to do is check the flight controls and set the flaps. So full left and full right, and then all the way up, all the way down, and then the rudder full left and the rudder full right, and it goes a little quicker than that. It always does that going to the right. I think I need new rudder pedals probably. And we'll put that back on the engines page. I wonder, does the status page work? No, it doesn't. It's got to stay on the engines page. And then our flaps need to go to 10. That's 1, 5, and 10. And we're ready to taxi out. I'm going to square away a couple things, get my track IR turned on, and then we're going to pull out. Alrighty, now I know we really do need a pushback, but I'm just not going to mess with it. So our wing's going to hit the building. It is going to be what it's going to be for this one. Bear with me. We'll get her squared away. Track IR coming on, a little jump here. There we go. It is a pretty small jump right now, isn't it? I want to turn the dome light off, sort of. That's that one there. It's good enough for government work, I always say. Parking brakes are off, so let's go ahead and start pulling out here. And we'll get this party started. Now I'm just going to taxi with 2 engines, maybe. I gotta look over here at my throttles. Let's see if it'll let me taxi with just the 2 engines. If it will, great. It's just a little easier. It can be kind of hard to move all 4 throttles. We might actually avoid the grass. Just a little more throttle coming in there. A little more thrust. Yeah, it's turning sharp enough. Our wing would almost guaranteed to hit that building there. It's a shame I couldn't get the pushback to work. Sorry about that, guys. That'll happen sometimes though, won't it? Okay, I think we're probably good there. We'll just start making our way over to the taxi line there. And I'm not going to make you sit here through the whole taxi. I actually am going to try to put together a little bit of a cinematic for you here. So let's take a look at that. Alrighty, here we are holding short of the runway. Let's take care of our before takeoff checklist really quick. Landing lights need to come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can turn taxi lights off. Oh yeah, that's right, it's a switch. Oh my gosh, I don't even know which one it is. Okay, it's third one over. We gotta leave them on for now because we need the runway turn off light. Strobe light is on, transponder is on, And then it's position and hold, check the flaps, and then off we go. We're gonna see how this works out because I'm not so sure how I feel about the thrust takeoff 2 for the thrust mode or whatever. So yeah, that should be interesting. We just start this thing over here. This thing's ready to go. Track hour coming on, a little jump. There we go. And okay, let's see if we can get this going here. Little thrust. This time I bring the thrust up with all 4 engines. So, because obviously we're going to need all 4 when we take off anyway. Just double checking our path there. Looks clear. Let's bring this out just a wee bit further. It looks like our flight path is kind of behind us there. So, but I remember we looked at the legs page, right? Let's just check real quick. Yeah, there's no discontinuity or anything, so go back to the takeoff page. Here we go. Alright, well, let's see how it goes here, huh, folks? It's been a while since I've flown a heavy. It really has, so this could be ugly. Should be nice and light by the time we get where we're going. So that'll be nice anyway. Alright, take her straight out here so we can line it up. We do have a lot of runway. It's 13,130 feet, so there is that. So yeah, we'll see. A little further there, and then swing her around nice and tight. If you just heard that squeaking sound, that was not the airplane. Bringing a little asymmetric thrust off the right side there, just help her around. Come on, baby. We're going to roll right into our takeoff here because everything just seems to be taking forever. So I'm going to try the toga mode here with the thrust that it recommends, so we'll see. Thrust coming up. Toga. It's not even doing anything. We'll do it ourselves then. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't arm the auto throttle. Oh, man. Okay, that's alright. Well, I guess we're going to be doing a full thrust takeoff. Alright, let's listen and see if we get the call outs here. We didn't get a rotate call out, but we did get V1. Okay, positive rate of climb, gear coming up. Now the LNAV and the VNAV try to kick in automatically, or at least they armed automatically. Trying to bring a little nose down trim in here. Come on. There we go. There's a fly crawling around on my screen. Yeah, you notice how it's a little quiet though, right? I kind of dislike that, to be honest with you. Alright, let's see what happens when we throw the autopilot on here. LNAV and VNAV are already armed. So it looks like it's going out here to the D058F, which makes sense. That's what's on our legs page, right? So it's going out there, and then I guess it's going to just try and make a really tight turn. I don't know. It's going to go to flaps 5. That's interesting. You know what I didn't check? What is, well, that's my bad. Track hour coming off here. Let's just press on for the moment. I didn't check transition altitude, which should be on the chart here, but I didn't check it. And I'm trying to look at it while paying attention to the aircraft, and that's not working real well. I know it's lower out here. It's not 18,000 feet, but I think we're set for 18,000 feet. We'll see if it gives us an indicator before that. But my bad on that. Stuff happens, right? It's okay. Anyway, okay, takeoff is taken care of. So now into our after takeoff or climb checklist. At 10,000 feet here, the landing lights and what have you will go off. We could do the runway turn off lights now. So let me, because I remember which switch that is. What else we got here? Autopilot is set. TCAS biasing mode. We can't do anything with that anyway. We're not doing ATC, so we don't need to worry about that. Engine anti-ice and wing anti-ice. All of that is on auto, so I'm not too worried about that. It's going to take care of itself. There's 10,000 feet, so we can get these landing lights off. And it should speed up now as well. Altimeter, again, once we get to, it's going to be 18,000 feet for now. We should get an indicator on there that tells us we need to change the altimeter because we're at transition altitude. And then that's it. That's going to take us all the way up to cruise. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it, it is time once again for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alright, taking a look at our approach briefing here. I zoomed this in just a little bit. We'll just go right across the tabs up here. So ATIS is 126.930 Nantes. I think that's how you say it. The approach is going to be whatever one that ATC would assign us. Tower on 18.650 and ground on 21.655. Localizer frequency is 109.90. I forgot to mention, I think I said it during the arrival briefing. We're going to be the ILS-Z runway 3 approach. So the localizer frequency 109.9 with a final approach course of 028 degrees. And I'll show you how to set all this up in the FMC here momentarily. 3,000 feet, this is our missed approach altitude right here, mandatory. So it's right here is the one it's talking about, right? From distance 9.2 from NT. So I'm sorry, why am I saying missed approach? This is our glide slope intercept altitude. Minimums and missed approach are going to be based on which category of ILS we're flying, which we'll get to that in a minute. Airport elevation 90 feet, runway. Touchdown zone is going to be 73 feet. 2,000 feet is the minimum safe altitude in the area. For a missed approach, you're going to climb straight ahead to 1,300 feet, then turn left, a maximum of 200 knots, climbing to 4,000 feet to intercept and follow the 334-degree radial to the NTS VOR out to NITEM or as directed. It says do not turn before passing missed approach point. All right, which that's going to be down here. So you can't turn before you pass the missed approach point. Climb to 1300 prior to level acceleration. I have never seen ATC gradient of 5%, so I'm not sure what that means. That's got to mean the climb out though, right? Either way, altitude set in hectopascals. We're going to stick with inches of mercury because that's what I'm familiar with. Now it says here transition altitude is 5,000 feet. So if I remember, I'm just going to go with that. But it also says transition level by ATC. So either way, here's the visual of what that looks like up to 1,300 feet. Make that left turn until you intercept that radial headed out to the NTSVOR. Now come down here, you can see we're coming in at dog off 3,000 feet mandatory. You got to be at 3,000 feet, and then glide slope intercept and on in from there. Now as far as the minimums is concerned, for Cat 3 Bravo there are no minimums. That's the auto land. Cat 3 Alpha decision altitude or decision height is 50 feet. So decision height is going to be your radar altitude, right? Cat 2 is radar altitude of 115 feet. Cat 1 is 200 feet. Why does it say radar altitude and then down here it's got 100 feet? That's a little weird to me. If somebody knows why it's like that, let me know. If the glide slope's out, then it's 317 feet. Those are all the radar altitudes. These are your runway visual range minimums. So 75 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, and so on across the board. PAPI lights on the left-hand side. I don't remember what HILS 2 is, but I did do a whole thing on that. If I remember, I'll link it up here in the top corner. Now, real quick, let me show you how this works in the FMC, because we're coming from up here. And so if we go from our last waypoint here straight to dog off, it's a really ugly turn. So let me show you how we set that up. And what I love about this is that it actually let me set it up in here, and I wasn't expecting that it would. But if you go to your legs page, you look for your route discontinuities and so on, and you know, and we're still at cruise while I'm showing you this, and that's just the way I have to do it so that I can show you everything here. Let me just get to a view where I can show you this real quick, maybe. So you would set this to plan mode, and you guys know how to step through and all of that. I'm not going to do all that right now. I don't know why it keeps zooming in every time I go down there. But here's what I did. This dog 01 is what I added. And so what I did is I just looked at, so our final approach course is 28 degrees. So I went 90 degrees off of that, which is, oh, now my brain doesn't want to work, 118 degrees. And so what I did is I just selected dog off. I went off of dog off, and then I put 118. That's the heading from dog off that I'm looking at, and then /10, and then I just selected the empty boxes that were there because there was a route discontinuity. I just selected the boxes, and it created the name of the waypoint, and it put it in there. And so what it did, now let me just clear that off because I'm not going to do it again. So what it did was, if I put this to plan mode real quick, is it created this guy down here. So let me just step up to it real quick. So originally we were going to go from this waypoint to dog off, which is this one right here. I know that's hard to see. That's dog off right there. So we're going to go from here to here, and then it's going to try and turn around and set up for an ILS. That's no good. So I gave us 10 miles to work with here, and I could have put a couple of them in there, but this is that waypoint that was created. That's how I created that. And so I was actually really surprised that it did that, because that's something you can usually do in like a PMDG aircraft, because in the real aircraft you can do that. But it let us do it in here, so that was pretty great. I also want to show you, see how it keeps zooming in there like that? I also want to show you a couple other things here real quick. And again, if you guys are interested, we'll do a Salty 747 tutorial, but for the moment, let's just go here. That's not what I was looking for. Go to FMC.com, check this out. If I go to requests, and I go to weather, I can request a METAR. Now I already requested it to verify the weather. So when you request it, you go over here to your received messages, and there's our METAR that I requested a few minutes ago. And I click on it. This was our departure. This is our arrival. So this is the METAR for LFRS or Nantes right now. So this was the 13th at 0300 Zulu. The wind was 020 at 6 knots. Well, we're landing on runway 3 with an approach course of 028, so that's perfect. And then it gives us the wind, and so you got your wind, your visibilities. This is visibility. CAVIC, what does that mean? Oh, CAVIC means something. I can't remember what it is. Somebody in the comments, remind me what CAVIC means. It has to do with visibility. And then basically the rest of your information. Now, I did try, excuse me, had to cough in your face at least once. I did try an in-flight, oh my gosh, my mouse is acting up again. In-flight request for ATIS. And then so I wanted the arrival ATIS. Now I think it's just because we're too far out, because it sends it, and then you get this ACARS uplink, right? So that means it's there. I don't know why 28 keeps showing up. Received messages. There's the ATIS, and then see it says not available. I think it's because we're too far out. So just something to keep in mind there. But that's a great little feature. You got pre-flight, post-flight, in-flight. Good stuff. Good stuff. Link status. Okay. I mean, just really good stuff there. That's fantastic that that's added in there. And then I also want to show you a nav radio. So this is where you got to go to set your nav frequency, 109.90, and your approach course. Those need to be set in here. Now, when I selected the departure arrival page, and then I selected ILS 03Z transition and TAKEOFF, it populated this for me. But if it doesn't for some reason, you got to go put it in there. And then I had to put the final approach course in there as well. So there you go. And then keep in mind also that the two FMCs are linked. So I can't actually do anything on this FMC over here. I'm trying to click progress. I won't do it. I click it over here and it shows up on both. So we are currently 63 nautical miles from top of descent. So I'm just going to roll right into getting ready for top of descent. First thing we want to do is we want to scroll this guy down. Now I'm just going to do it the easy way on this one. I've talked about this before. I'm just going to go down to 3,000 because that's what I'm worried about right now. I know that's not the right way to do it. Real world, we're just going to 3,000 for now. Descent preparations says begin 30 nautical miles before top of descent. We're a little early. That's okay. I also want to go here to our approach page, and I want to choose my approach. So I'm going to go with the flaps 30. The runway is not super short. Let me pull the chart over here. Where are you at? Airport info. So it's 9,000 feet, so it's not like a super short runway. So that's not too bad. But I'm going to go with the flaps 30, 160 knots anyway. So we're going to put that in there. You got to make sure you get that in there. So we've got the altitude set. So again, when it hits top of descent right there, it should just automatically start descending. That's how the Boeing aircraft does it. Moving on, auto brakes. We're pretty heavy, so I'm going to go with auto brakes 3 on this one. And again, you know, so with all the complexity that this aircraft does bring, there's a lot of things it doesn't bring. Like I didn't see an area to set up my weight and balance properly and to see what my load is and all that. So all of that can be a little frustrating as far as this aircraft is concerned, but still overall, it's not a complaint. Honestly, I'm really impressed with what they've done with this, and it's free, you guys. This doesn't cost anything. This is free. I don't know if I mentioned that before. So either way, FMC arrivals page, departure and arrivals been set. We've selected our runway. We've done our approach reference page. We've got our flaps. We know what we're going to be. Flaps 30. What else here? Nav radio. We've gone to the nav radio page. We've set that up. We've noted the runway heading of 028 degrees, and that means we're ready to go on the VNAV descent, which is going to take place here shortly. So I'm going to break away from here, and I will see you guys when we're getting closer to the approach, because you don't have to listen to me talk the whole time. Alright folks, as you can see, we're going to be coming up on our makeshift waypoint Doggo 1 here, about 18 nautical miles. I took control of the speed because even though it did drop to 240, it didn't seem to want to drop any slower. And when we start making that turn at Doggo, I want to be bringing that speed down around 200 knots. So I just decided not to wait for it. But we do have a couple of bits of business we need to take care of here anyway. So starting with our initial approach checklist, the ATIS has been obtained. I double checked it. The wind is 008 at 9 right now, and altimeter is 3025. So I was able to pull that. I'm not going to play it right now just because we're going to be busy here. Well, let's play it. Why not? What the heck? Y'all can listen to it real quick. We got time.
Notes airport information, India 03, 00 Zulu. Wind 008 at Niner. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 600 feet. Temperature, 1 tree. Dew point, 10. Altimeter tree 0.25. ILS Yankee runway 03 in use. Landing and departing runway 03. DFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have India.
Okay, so I did notice that they said ILS runway, ILS Yankee runway 3. We are going to be flying the ILS, what was it again? Zulu, I think. But it is what it is. We're going to stick with what we got here. I'm not too worried about it. So there we have the ATIS. The approach briefing has been accomplished or completed. Decision height has been set. It's going to be 200 feet on the radio altimeter there. We haven't hit transition altitude yet, so I've preset 3025. Hold on, I got a cough. Sorry about that. I preset 3025 on here, so when I click the center of the button, it'll jump to that, which probably isn't the best way to do it when it's that big of a jump. But that's what we're going to go with anyway. I had to get a drink of water there. I guess I'm just not used to talking so much anymore. I do talk a lot. Some people complain about it, but it is what it is. Anyway, just under, looks like 9 miles or just under 10 miles from Doggo 1. So let's press on here. Landing data has been checked and set. It's going to be flaps 30, 160 knots. Seatbelt selector's on. IKIS recall doesn't work. Auto brake selector set to 3. We haven't hit transition altitude yet. You know what I didn't do when we hit 10,000 feet though? I didn't turn the landing lights on. So we better get those on before we get ourselves in trouble, right? There we go. Landing lights are on now, so we're good on that. Altimeter, again, we'll be setting it here shortly when we hit 5,000 feet. And then flaps as required. And then the approach checklist, which... well, that's pretty much what we just did. I don't have an additional checklist to that one there. So there you have it. Let me just start this thing over here. I've got this recorder I'm using to record the flight so that I can hopefully do some cinematics. We'll see if that works out. I mean, it worked out. If you saw a taxi cinematic, then it at least worked out somewhat. We'll see how it works for the landing here. And let's see what else we got here. That's pretty much it until we come to the final approach checklist, which will be coming up here shortly. As we start to make the turn here, we'll probably do the final approach checklist between Doggo 1 and Dogov. I'm calling it Doggo, but I guess it's Dogov 1. Between Dogov 1 and Dogov is when we'll do our final approach checklist here. My brain has just been... you know what? It's midnight, people. It's midnight here. I'm staying up late to record this for you, so throw a little love my way. It's late, but I wanted to get this flight recorded for you guys so that I can try and get... ideally, I'd like to try and get a couple flights a week out to you guys, to be honest with you. I'm going to throw a little spoilers out here because it went to VNAV speed and it went bonkers. Look at that. Now watch what happens. We're coming up on 5,000 feet. Watch the big jump here as I change this. Look at that. All of a sudden we're at 5,100 feet. That is the difference in pressure, right? That's really high pressure. So just something to keep in mind. Let's go ahead and get the next setting of flaps out here. And let's bring that speed on down here to 180. And it seems to be slowing down nice, so I can go ahead and arm the spoilers at this point. Spoilers are armed. Landing gear will come out as we round the corner there. Now this is something I've noticed it does on some of these hard turns, is it sort of fights to get on track. And I know that's something they're working on with this aircraft, so I'm not too worried about it. It's not really bothering me. Let's jump to a good view here. Track hour coming on, a little jump here. There we go, and let me just center that up for you. And here we go. Okay. Been a little while, huh? I have not flown a big heavy airplane in quite some time, so I barely played around with a takeoff in this thing earlier. That's why I'm still kind of struggling getting used to everything. But yeah, good stuff. I'm loving this. I love flying these big airplanes. I really do. They're just so much fun to me. And I'm so just grateful, really, to the guys from I guess it's called maybe it's called Salty Simulations. You know what, I honestly don't know, but the guys who put this together, who've been putting the work into this, bravo to you all. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure a lot of people do, and I'm sure that all of you watching this really appreciate it too. So yeah, good stuff. Really thrilled about that. Now, something I just thought about is we're supposed to hit glide slope at TAKEOFF, right? So kind of a bad way to come in. Hitting the glide slope while making that turn is gonna, but it's way too late to do anything about that now. So we're just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it, right? So what I am gonna do though is I'm gonna arm the localizer now, and so that's armed, and then yeah, so we should see this diamond coming down here pretty quick. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's drop the landing gear. Let's get the next setting of flaps out. It's going to put us at flaps 20. Bring that speed down a little more. It'll definitely make it easier to make the turn. And the flaps do tend to travel slow. So there's TAKEOFF making the turn now. Next setting of flaps. We'll stay at 170 for the moment. Just waiting for it to grab that localizer, that's all. That diamond's actually not moving yet, which is kind of crazy. You know what? Actually, no, I was right, because it's 9.2, distance 9.2 is where glide slope intercept is, not at TAKEOFF. You just have to be at 3000 at TAKEOFF. So we're good, actually. Yeah, see, localizer's locked on. The diamond's still way up here because we still got a little ways to go yet. And one way you can track that is you can put in the VOR frequency to get your distance measurement. But it's 4.8 from TAKEOFF to our glide slope intercept. So, but either way, we've locked the localizer. So let's click on the camera. Oh, don't tell me the approach switch doesn't work. No approach switch, huh? That's interesting. Well, if that doesn't work, we're going to be flying it manually. Let's get the rest of our flaps in and get us down to 160 here. That's going to be, boy, that's going to be rough trying to fly that manually. That's the approach switch isn't working. That is fantastic. Give it another minute here. If the approach switch doesn't kick in, well, then I guess we'll be flying a manual ILS approach, which could get really messy because I haven't done that in a long time. Now we're still on VNAV, so we're good there. But yeah, it's just not kicking in, is it? Okay. Let's just go ahead and... Okay. There we go. Alright, so manual control here. So there's our glide slope intercept. And we are still... Come on. Trying to get some nose down trim here. Need a lot of nose down trim. Boy, this thing's really fighting me here. Let's turn the... It's not letting me do that. Just disengage. Oh, it re-engaged, that's why. Did you see that? There we go. That makes more sense now. There we go, looking good. Okay, so we're still on auto throttle here. And we'll just stay on that for the moment, not a problem. That's weird that the autopilot reconnected though. I didn't even notice. I was trying to figure out why it was fighting me so hard. Well, the autopilot reconnected, that's why. That makes a lot more sense now. Let's see. I don't think the auto throttle should automatically disconnect. Let's see if it does. No, it didn't. Okay. So I'm going to just leave the auto throttle on for the moment. Boy, that's a fast rate of descent there, huh? Let's settle that in. We're just below glide slope. I don't like that. I can handle being a hair above, but being below glide slope is always a bad thing. I think the trim's just being really sensitive on it. For the most part, we're flying just fine here. We're gonna need to take this auto throttle off soon though, because I don't know if it will auto disconnect, you know what I mean? So there we go. Obviously we got a little high there because the throttle's jumped up pretty high. We're alright though, we're looking pretty good here. We need to descend a little quicker. We're definitely too high, but we don't want to overdo it here, right? So just a little trim there. Bring those back up just a little bit. There's our 1,000 foot. The callouts are really quiet. I wish I could make those a little louder, but it is what it is. Need a little more thrust in there, and we're drifting a little too. Alright, we're looking pretty good here. Let's see if we can hear our call outs, huh? Drifting a little. Minus 209 feet. That's pretty solid right there, let me tell you. Come on, baby. I switch to manual braking. Take off the reverse thrust. Shabby. I don't like the sound set though. I gotta say that's the one thing I really don't like right now is the sound set. Other than that, I don't really have any complaints. There are definitely some things that it'd be nice to have certain things, and obviously there's a lot of work that needs to be done to bring this really up to a, I don't know if their intent is to bring it to a study level or not. If it is, obviously there's a long way to go for that, and that's not a dig on them. I mean, again, this thing's free, and these guys are, you know, probably guys and gals. I don't know who all's on their team doing it, but, you know, I mean, just kudos to them for the work they're doing here, right? I mean, you really can't complain about the amount of work they've done for free, you know? So definitely not a complaint, not trying to complain about it. Let's get those spoilers up, start bringing flaps up. So I'm not complaining about it, just saying though there are some things I'd like for sure. If anybody knows where I can get a good sound set that would be compatible with this, that'd be fantastic. Or if just somebody knows a way to, maybe I just need to turn up my master volume. I probably turned it down at one point. So something that I can look at as well, but either way, let me get those, wrong one, that's the one I want there. So I'm just gonna pull it straight in here. I'm not really sure where cargo goes here. That's alright, I'm not too worried about it either. This does look like the cargo area. So here we go. This will work out nicely. and we'll be able to roll right into shutting everything down here. Let's get that APU on. There we go, APU startup. And bring it to a nice gentle stop here. Maybe. Try not to hit the brakes too hard. There we go. Let's put the parking brake on. Track hour coming off. Little jump. Or no jump at all, actually. We can take track hour off. Yeah, the landing rate was minus 209 feet per minute, so that was pretty good. I transitioned from, you know, the approach itself to the landing flare at right around 30 feet, and at 20 feet I cut the throttles, and I just really gently held that nose up, and it just glided right in there, smooth as silk. So that was fantastic. So good stuff there. So just APU's up and running at this point. So if we jump up to the top here, let's see, we'll put the APU bleed air on, and then so APU's running, but we can't pull power from it. Oh yeah, we can. It says APU gen on. There we go. So APU gens are both on at this point, which means we can shut the engines down. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's going to shut down all of our engines. You know what I didn't do is that final approach checklist. I mean, I did, but like I just kind of did it on the fly, right? So I didn't actually go, okay, final approach checklist or anything like that. So my bad on that one. I don't know if there's a way to. I'm sure there's the default way to open doors and stuff on all this. I'm not messing with all that right now. So basically, we're shut down at this point. I'm not going to go to cold and dark. I'm not doing that anymore. You know, that's something for a full flight tutorial, and I think a couple of you kind of mentioned that as well. I do want to say real quick, I did put a post on my channel asking you guys for some feedback. Please go take a look at that, read it, and then think about what I've asked there, and give me some feedback, because I want to make sure that I'm creating content in a way that that benefits you guys the most, right? So what you guys are looking for is the content that I want to create, and so I want to get a good feel for, you know, there's at least 9,000 subscribers, so I want to get a good feel for how, you know, the bulk of you would like to see or what you guys would like to see as far as videos go. Okay, enough talking about that. That's really going to take care of our shutdown procedure, because there's not really anything else we can do other than, you know, turning off some lights and that sort of thing. And turning off the we can turn off the engine bleeds, or yeah, the engine bleed air, and that's pretty much it, because you know, a lot of things don't function on here. I'm not going to turn off all the fuel pumps and stuff right now. So that's going to wrap it up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I do thank you for joining me on this flight, and once again, I'm so grateful for the support that I've received from this community. You guys are just absolutely fantastic. I love you all. You know, you guys are the reason I do this, and the reason that I want to keep doing this. So, you know, despite the long absence that you guys all endured, you've continued to be supportive of me and of this channel, and I am very, very grateful for that. And so I am grateful for the opportunity to start making content again, and hopefully continue. Well, not hopefully, I don't see any reason looking forward that I won't be able to make continuous content. So unless something crazy happens, we should be far more consistent going forward, and so I'm really grateful for that. If you haven't done so, you know, I heard this put it this way on another channel. If you think I've earned it, please subscribe to the channel. And I like that way of looking at it. You know, we always, you know, most YouTubers say, oh, subscribe to the channel, like the video and all that, and I do want you to subscribe, and I do want you to like the video and click the bell to get notifications and all that, but I only want you to do that if you think I deserved it. So if you think the content is worth it and you definitely want to see more of it, then please do subscribe to the channel. It definitely does help me out, and it's a good motivator for me too. We're just over 9,000 subscribers. I'd love to see us break that 10,000 subscriber mark. So you know, if you think that this channel's worth your time to do that, then please subscribe to the channel. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, especially if you like it, because that lets me know, you know, the more thumbs up I see on a video, the more I know, hey, this is definitely content that they like to see. And so I really appreciate when you guys do that. And then don't hesitate to leave comments. Those of you who know me well enough know if you leave something nasty, I'm either one of three things is going to happen. I'm either going to ignore it, I'm going to delete it, or I'm going to say something nasty back. I try not to be nasty, but yeah, no need to leave anything nasty, but I don't have any problem with constructive criticism, and I like to learn. So if you see that I'm doing something wrong, or you know that I could do something better, by all means put it down in the comments, and I will definitely take that into account. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for your support. That's it. That's all and no more, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, as always, keep the blue side up, unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all, and have a fantastic day.